Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome. Welcome to Navigating the Future of Trucking with me, your host, Jerri Banks. On this show, we talk about automation and autonomy entering the trucking and transportation industry. We talk about traditional truck driving jobs, and jobs in the autonomous sector where you can take your current skills and combine them with new skills that you learn and become a game changer for somebody's company. Lastly, of course, I have to put in a learning lane and educational lane where I share actionable tips that you can use right now to help you upskill and reskill for the new future that our industry is moving into. So, first, I want to say thank you for those of you for joining me. We have an action packed agenda today. I want to also say hello to my friends on TT, TikTok. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for liking the live. Hi, Larry. And so, in today's show, we're going to be discussing quite a few things. So, first, I'll provide a summary of the final report of the WOTAB. And so, WOTAB stands for the Women of Trucking Advisory Board. It was released today by the FMCSA. It's a compilation of the hard work of a group of 14 women that sit on this board of WOTAB, Women of Trucking Advisory Board, myself included. I am grateful to be among those amazing women that worked alongside the FMCSA to put this report together. And I'll talk more about that. I'll talk about the important role of technicians. I kind of hit on that a little bit earlier today, but I want to go into more detail about the important role that technicians are going to play. And when I say technicians, I'm talking about diesel technicians. And the role that you're going to play in the future of trucking, and how some truck drivers should be thinking long and hard about how this field that is growing and there's a shortage and a major need, and how you can transition. I'll also talk about California Senate Bill 915, SB 915. This is a bill that's been driven by the Teamsters Union in regards to the autonomous vehicle sector. New developments have been made in the last few days, so I want to talk about that. And then also, I'm going to share, of course, we're a recruitment and an education agency, so of course, I got to talk about some jobs. So I'll be talking about a traditional truck driving job that has steady miles and steady freight if you live in the Houston and the Dallas area. And then I'll be talking, of course, I always like to highlight and showcase a job in the autonomous trucking sector. Okay. And so this is not necessarily a company that we work with that I'm going to be highlighting, but regardless if I work with them or not, I need you to know what positions are out there. I need you to know what's available so that you can take some of those current skills that you have as a driver and then transition them, because there's opportunities. There's lots of opportunities out there. You just may not know about them. So let's talk about them. We'll talk about them today. And lastly, of course, I have to add a learning opportunity. So I'm going to share four qualities that you as a truck driver have right now that are transferable to that of a technician that will make you valuable in the future. So we have an action packed show today. And so thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you for being here. And let's get started.
I'm Jerri Banks. Our agency focuses on driver recruitment and driver education. We focus on helping drivers and preparing them for the future of trucking and transportation as autonomous vehicles and automation enters the industry. Our goal is to ensure that you are equipped with the skills that you need to be successful in this new way of life. So make sure you connect with me across all of my platforms. Jerri Banks, Autonomous Trucking. I look forward to connecting with you.
All right. Thank you so much. As the promo said, make sure you are connected with me across all of my platforms. It's either Jerri Banks LOTR Recruiting or Jerri Banks Autonomous Trucking. We are on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, every platform. We're there, so you can definitely find me across all of those platforms. So we will go and get right into it, into the trucking information. So I'm very, very, very proud of the work that we did on WOTAB. And that work was in support of women pursuing careers in trucking, in support of expanding scholarship opportunities for women to come into the trucking industry, enhancing trucking training, enhancing mentorships, enhancing education and outreach programs. So for over a year, we met, typically either monthly or every other month. And in these meetings, we offered, and these were public meetings. So the FMCSA released invited the public to the meeting. You could have public comments at the end of the meetings, but this is the time for us to come together. And it wasn't just, it was over 14 women total, right? And I was on the board, still on the board at this time. We've just finalized and released the report. Super excited about that. Very proud of that accomplishment because it is going to lead and open the door for more women to come into the industry, but not only come into the industry, but feel safe in the industry. And this is part of the Biden infrastructure bill, and that was the board was a part of the Biden infrastructure bill. It was created and established by FMCSA Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg on February the 11th. The Women of Trucking Advisory Board, WOTAB, is what it was shortened to, and it was established again in part of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, known as the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. And so WOTAB's 14 women, and we all came from a range of different backgrounds, different experiences, different certifications, and it allowed us to contribute to diverse views and then be able to report on the policies that help to provide the education and training and outreach for women in the trucking and transportation industry, and not just with current women, but women that want to in the future join this fastly growing industry. And so the report came out today actually. It's a 23-page report, and I'm going to just highlight some of the key aspects of that report, some of the key recommendations, because that is what we did. We made recommendations on our experience, from a retention perspective, from a mentorship and training perspective. You had drivers, you had trucking company owners, you had directors of recruiting, directors of operation. You had myself from the recruitment perspective. I was also at that time, I was on the board of the She Trucking Foundation. You also had industry association members. So there were the president of the AAWTA, Nicole Ward, Sheree Moore, several truck drivers were also on this board. And so you can visit the WOTAB website. If you want to view the entire report, you can visit the WOTAB website. And I've got it right up here. It is the Women of Trucking Advisory Board. It is on the fmcsa.dot.gov/WOTAB. That's where you can find that full report. It is released, but I'm going to just kind of go over a few of the top priority recommendations. And I think the number one thing was that we emphasize the importance of elevating women's voices in the commercial motor vehicle industry, increasing the women's representation in decision-making roles, in enhancing safety and harassment reporting mechanisms. So not every woman who's come into this industry has had a great experience. Not every woman driver that's been trained has had a great experience. And so WOTAB kind of shed light and shined light on some of those challenges and struggles and downright difficult situations that women have had coming into this industry. And so I'm really proud again of the work that we did at WOTAB. I was very impressed with the final report that came out, and looking forward to seeing not just a report, but looking forward to see action from what we've suggested and what we've provided by the FMCSA. So one other thing, and I want to kind of highlight this in more detail, is the harassment and safety aspect of that report and what we reported on. The report recommends the establishment of a driver hotline. That was one of the things that we really hit home on. It was a driver hotline for harassment, and then the development of a rating system for carriers regarding their commitment to anti-harassment standards, so that women can feel safe. One story that I'll never forget. It was a lady that she came on, and she talked about coming into the industry and being at work and just getting treated like she didn't know what she was doing, and like she did not feel welcome. It was a very, she said, her words were, hostile environment. And that's not what you want coming into an industry where you just want to take care of your family. You just want to provide for your kids. You're already gone from your kids to begin with if you're an OTR trucker. But to have harassment and those type of feeling unsafe in hostile environments, being in that situation, you don't want that on top of the stress of missing your kids, the stress of being out on the road by yourself. Those are things that I'm so glad from a WOTAB perspective we brought that to light, and I'm looking forward to the action that the FMCSA is going to take towards that. Another thing that we brought to light from a WOTAB perspective was quality of life improvements. Suggestions included better access to childcare during training and onboarding, more flexible work configurations, and training employers on what the Family Medical Leave Act really looks like, the benefits of it. Family Medical Leave Act is FMLA, and a lot of companies have it. Maternity leave, those were all things that were brought up. And um, it was really, really crucial that these things were brought up. Some of the conversations that we had during these meetings, some of them were heated because there was passion, and there was just the sheer fact that we could feel some of these challenges that the women were going through, and not only feel them, some of them even experience them. And so it's not just it was a collective feeling of what women that come into this industry go through. Now, another recommendation was a portal development. So we all really hit home on the fact that a portal is needed to be like a comprehensive place where women in the industry could go for resources like mental health support or professional development, and even a network for women drivers. So those were some of the key takeaways. Um, Another thing was recruitment and retention, and I'll wrap up this segment on the recruitment and retention because that's my lane. From a recruitment perspective, from a retention perspective. So we talked about strategies that included more networking and more mentorship and mentoring opportunities for women, particularly in underrepresented groups, and increasing resources for minority owned CDL schools, minority owned CDL, minority owned trucking companies as well, that are owned by women. And so helping them not just come into the industry, but giving them the information and the tools, and equipping their toolbox with the tools that they need to succeed long term, to have longevity in this industry. So that was definitely an eye opener to hear a lot of the challenges that women faced. Some of the stories were, brought tears to everyone's eyes in some of those meetings, and it was really good working with a lot of the key leaders in this industry. And so I will wrap up this WOTAB segment about the final report that was released. Is that if you are a woman in trucking, if you are interested in entering the trucking industry, I highly recommend that you consider it. I highly recommend that you consider it. There are opportunities that you can, industries and associations that you can join, and that can be anywhere from you've got AAWTA, which is the African American Women Trucking Association, ran by Nicole Ward. You've got She Trucking. There's a Facebook community of women with a wealth of information. They have a lot of information there. All you have to do is go join their Facebook group and just search if you want to learn more about trucking or mentors, or any question that you have in trucking. I guarantee it's been asked already. It has been asked in that She Trucking Facebook group. You've also got um, the women in trucking, and you've got Real Women in Trucking. Real Women in Trucking is a organization ran by Desiree. So definitely make sure that you look into those organizations, and look into these opportunities to get into the trucking industry. And again, I just say congratulations to my fellow WOTAB members, and thank you for the time and the commitment that each of you made to this final report. Again, I'm looking forward to what the FMCSA has from an action perspective. All right, so moving right along, let's go into our trucking news, our autonomy news. So we have quite a few things that I want to talk about from an autonomy perspective. First, we'll talk about the the Teamsters in California. And let me just share my screen here. So since the Teamsters have been working since last year, I know, well, maybe even longer than that, but they introduced a bill last year and it made it all the way. Actually, it passed, and then it was overturned by Governor Newsom, who is the governor of California. But well, 2 days ago, 2 days ago, look, my days are off. 2 days ago, they were officially able to pass an autonomous vehicle bill in California. It passed through the Senate committee. And this bill, SB Senate Bill 915, that bill is for the passed in the California Senate, and it to grant municipalities, like local agencies, the authority to regulate the deployment of AVs, autonomous vehicles, on their roads. So it gives basically the local government the ability to opt out or to create a regulatory framework if they choose to allow autonomous vehicles on their roads. So that bill was able to be passed. Also, the bill aimed to protect public safety and union jobs by setting standards for data transparency, ADA accessibility, and safety and health inspections. It also responds to recent safety incidents involving some AVs, including what they considered near misses with pedestrians and cyclists. This is again with the Teamsters. This was a bill that was recently passed. Now we'll see what happens with this bill if this bill goes um, on to the governor's desk. Let's see. Let's see what happens. All right. Let me recognize some of our guests that are watching here. Thank you so much, Mr. Leonard. Good morning. How are you? Well, it's afternoon. Again, guys, make sure you subscribe. I'm normally on here every morning at 10 a.m. I had a 10 a.m. meeting that was, I couldn't move earlier or later. So today I'm here at 1. So make sure you subscribe, but you got to turn on those notifications in order to get notified when I go live, just in case I'm a little bit earlier or I'm a little bit later. So make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you are sharing this information with your peers in the industry, because it is a lot of information. And where else can you get information and news and jobs in regards to traditional trucking jobs and news and information on the autonomy sector? So again, Mr. Leonard, thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you. I always appreciate you. You're one of my biggest supporters. All right, so moving right along, let's take a quick break and we will be back in a moment.
When it comes to autonomous trucks entering the trucking and transportation industry, up until now, you've only heard bits and pieces, news here, news there. There's been no centralized place for you to learn about autonomous trucks. Join me every Wednesday and Thursday and Friday at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time as I share information, news, and education on how you can stay prepared for autonomous trucks and autonomy entering the trucking and transportation industry.
Yes, so we are not only discussing autonomous trucks, we talk about automation, autonomy, everything, new technologies, new softwares that are impacting our industry, that are adjusting your role as a driver, that are adjusting your role as a transportation professional, because it's not a matter of when, it's a matter of if. And if you've done any type of research, if you learned anything about um, or if you watch just the last two shows that I've done, you know that there's companies that are already moving autonomously across the US, mostly the southern part of the US. And when I say autonomously, right now there's an operator, there's a safety operator. And these have been some of the jobs that I've been talking about: the safety operator jobs, the safety trainer, the technician, the terminal operator. These are all available jobs that are open right now, and I'm going to share one today with you as well. But let's talk about technician. I'm big on technician. I'm big on learning about being a technician, and I'm actually secretly trying to manifest this for my son as well. He hasn't accepted it yet, but he will. He will accept it. But I want him to transition from a driver to a technician. And there is a great technical institute that, if you're in the Houston, Texas area, this technical institute is phenomenal. Let me just share it with you. It's called Select Technical Institute. And I had the privilege of going over and doing a tour there. It is a state of the art facility, the largest in the United States, where they have a diesel technician school, but they also have a dealership where they work on Freightliners, Western Star trucks. They have so many connections with companies that own fleets. So they typically send their mechanics out to these companies, Cisco, for example, to work on their fleet. And so your technician job, for all of my drivers that want to be off the road, that don't want to be gone away from their families for, weeks and weeks at a time, this is a great opportunity. And so what their school program is, it's a 7-month program. You get paid for the shop time, the time that you're in the shop. And I think it's like $14 an hour. You get paid during the time that you're in the shop. It's like half shop, half classroom. And then you don't have to look for a job when you come out. You immediately go work for them. You come out and you have a career when you're done. And so that's why I love the premise of this school. You do have to commit to working with them for 4 years, and that should not be a problem because you're going to be making really good money. So it's a state of the art facility. They have over 100 bays. And if you're interested in this school, their website is right here. And again, it's called Select Technical Institute. If you want to know more about it, you can visit them. You can reach out to the director there, or you can just email me. Shoot me an email. I'll reach out. I'll contact you. I actually have a young lady who we talked yesterday, and she's a driver. She's been driving since 2018, over the road, ready to come off the road. She lives in the local Houston area, and she's really interested in this transition, doing a transition from being that truck driver to being a diesel technician. And so let me just share a couple of things with you in regards to the diesel technician on the autonomous vehicle side. So there was a post released just yesterday by a company called Torque Robotics. And they released this in regards to technicians. And so they said the closer autonomous trucks get to entering the commercial market, the role of technicians is becoming integral. According to Torque Robotics VP of Commercialization, Nick Elder, while there may be new training requirements, technicians familiar with today's electronic diagnostic systems should find the shift to servicing autonomous enabled trucks fairly straightforward. And so, again, this is a LinkedIn post by Torque Robotics. If you're not on LinkedIn, or if you are on LinkedIn, make sure you follow them. If you're not, you need to set you up a LinkedIn account. Okay. That way you can stay up to date on what's happening because a lot of the information is shared there on LinkedIn. In addition to Torque Robotics, there's also a news article released in regards to the same topic of technicians, technicians in the autonomous truck sector. So Gatic AI is an autonomous vehicle developer. They move freight autonomously, box truck freight between Dallas and in the Dallas metropolitan area for the most part, and they're also in Arkansas as well. But their trucks are worked on by Ryder. Same with Kodiak Robotics. They have a partnership with Ryder in Houston, Texas, and Ryder is their service technician for their autonomous trucks. So, are you seeing a theme here? Technician, technician, technician. Technicians are critical to the operational needs, such as these maintenance networks, such as rescue operations for autonomous vehicles, and an operational center oversight. And this is going to be crucial for the next 5 years of A/B testing. And as you're doing that A/B testing, you're still learning. You're learning. And these companies have really focused on making their technology durable and easy to maintain. For example, their sensor pods that replace the traditional mirrors and uh, that's on a truck right now. The sensor pods, they actually replace the mirrors and they house the sensor hardware. They're designed to be like plug and play for easy replacement for the maintenance teams. And so this type of information is information that you need to know. It shows that there's a need. There's a need for these technicians to be able to work on the AB equipment. But there's just already a need for diesel technicians. Without autonomous trucks, there's a shortage of 300,000 diesel technicians right now. So if you're a driver that is having thoughts about doing a shift, like doing a pivot, because you're not getting the miles, because your money. Look, I talked to a driver this morning. I had a conversation with him, and he called one of the girls. Both of the girls were on the other line, and it just rolled to me. And of course, I'm still going to be on the phones. I'm still going to talk to drivers because I love that. And I got him, and the first thing that he was telling me was that I've applied for about 15 companies, 15 trucking companies, and the pay is garbage. The pay is like 40 to 58, maybe 58 if I'm lucky, cents per mile. And what I told him was, yes, that's the norm. That's what we're seeing as a recruitment agency. We're seeing, I don't want to say 40, okay? 40 is like 2018, okay? But I want to say we're seeing pre-COVID numbers come back. We're seeing the pre-COVID numbers come back into this industry. And with that being said, pre-COVID to 55 cents per mile is what we're seeing in the industry. And then if you're getting 65, my question to you is how many miles are you getting? What do those miles look like? If you're getting 65, I had a driver tell me he's getting 73 before, like last week. You getting 73 cents a mile? Woo, that looks amazing. Let's do the numbers on that. And of course, y'all know I pull out my calculator. I pull out my calculator. Okay, so tell me you got 73 cents a mile, and how many miles are you getting? Because that's my first question. How many miles are you getting at 73 cents a mile? What those miles looking like? That's when I find out the real truth is that the 73 cents a mile, and he's only getting 1,800 miles a week. Well, that's pretty good. That's about $1,300 before taxes, because we don't quote anything after taxes from a recruitment perspective. That's about $1,300. But if you were getting 2,000, 2,500, 3,000 miles, then that would be great. And you would probably get that in a normal freight market. But we're not dealing with a normal freight market right now. And so if you're going to go to a company, make sure that you have a good understanding of how many miles those drivers are averaging before you go. Don't get there and you only getting, 900 miles a week. And nobody should be getting 900 miles a week. Let's say that. Your check shouldn't even be $900 a week. Okay. So back to the diesel technician. I want to talk about GATIC. GATIC, again, is an autonomous vehicle developer out of Dallas. I was in Dallas about a year ago. It was back in like September. And I was up there with some friends, and we were doing a workshop. And I went for a walk. We got an Airbnb. I went for a walk that morning, and I've been learning all about these autonomous vehicle developers. I've been studying them, sucking in as much information as I can about them. And so I went on a walk that morning right before our workshop started, because I get up every morning early and I do my morning walk no matter where I am. And I saw a GATIC truck. I was in Dallas and I saw a GATIC truck. Now, there was a driver behind the wheel, and I'm pretty sure he was like, because they kind of like wave their hands over the wheel to, and take over in the event of an emergency. But I saw a GATIC truck, and it was in a neighborhood, like it was like a busy street, but I was walking in the neighborhood and it passed by on a busy street. So GATIC is one, again, they have a partnership with Ryder, and they are one that is doing some really big things in the industry when it comes to autonomous trucks and autonomous technology. They move freight currently for Tyson Foods, for Walmart, Loblaws, and they do a lot. They're really big in Arkansas. So Dallas and Arkansas, southwestern Arkansas, you're going to be able to see them moving around. They've got these purple trucks. I'll just pull one up here on the screen. But Gatic is a big deal in the autonomous vehicle industry. That's a Gatic truck here. Yeah, this computer, y'all bear with me. Oh, today. That's why I need to be here at 10. Why I need to make sure I'm here bright and early at 10 because my computer got to shut down after 12. Okay. All right. So moving right along. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Gaddick Truck, for coming up finally. But that's a Gaddick Truck. Again, they focus on the last mile, the final mile delivery to the store. So their focus is more on the complex city driving. The complex local city driving is what their focus is on, and they are one of the top leaders in the AV industry. Now, Texas is huge. When it comes to autonomy, Texas is one that is regulatory friendly. The environment's regulatory friendly. The climate is, it's look I'm in Texas. I'm in Houston to be exact, and we can have summer, winter, spring, and fall all in the same day. Literally, literally all in the same day. And so today we've got I'm looking outside the office and it's like a cloudy, maybe about to rain, but then it'll be, 85 degrees just shortly after that. So the regulatory environment and the climate is friendly in Texas, and there's plenty of freight. So that's why you're going to see so many autonomous vehicle developers in Texas. That's why you'll see them in Texas. All right. So, one thing, let's take a break here. And I want to talk to you about an autonomous ebook. This is an ebook that we have that is going to answer your questions. It's going to answer some of your questions in regards to autonomous vehicles, who the key developers are, who the um, answer your questions in regards to the ebook, in regards to the skills that you need to be able to transfer to some of these jobs that are out there. So the ebook link is scrolling on the screen, and it's a free ebook. You can download it, but it's going to give you insight, give you insight into the new future of trucking and how you can prepare your career for that.